What's up, y'all? Recently I got on a Pogues kick, and I was running through a bunch of old records, and I came across this song, which is one that it doesn't really get played very much, which is kind of odd because it's got a great melody to it. The arrangement is really cool, some awesome lyrics, and it's got this great whistle part, which we'll play now. So. It's a cool little line, I think, and it fits really well into that song. The main line, you'd hear a lot more. They use that quite a few times through it. We'll break down the basic melody, and we'll start with that part because that is the most common part of it here. So. It's the first section. I'll run that again. Here's the end part of that. Now, one of the most frequent questions I get is what happens when you run out of notes? What happens when the melody drops below the range of the whistle, in this case the low note D, which is the lowest note we've got? Well, what happens is what I just did right there. That's what this melody does. You just jump up the octave. A fiddle player, accordion player, they could carry on playing below the lower notes. We can't, so we just jump up. So I'll play that bit again. So that last section, in theory, would all be below the note, below the range of the whistle. But in this case, we just play it up high. And that's how it finishes, and that's how it is on the record if you listen to it that way. Then this sort of a bridge tag section goes like this. It's really just three notes there, A, B, and D. Then to finish it up, that's the only little tricky bit there, is that sort of fluttery part, which you can make more fluttery by addition of ornaments. Then the line repeats. And finishes the phrase out that way. It has such a nice lift to it. I hopefully try not to overdo it with ornaments, but a couple of things you could start with here. Sliding into the beginning of the phrase. You can just get that pickup note there. And then cutting the top note. I do that a lot, accenting the highest note of the phrase. That one, that little trill part, I'm hoping kind of hints at that phrase that comes later, where we're doing sort of two grace notes in a row. It's, I guess you could maybe call it a half of a crayon, perhaps. As you land on the E, hitting these top two grace notes here. It's got a bit of a chirpy sound. Doing the same thing on the end, I would start that phrase with a cut. And then that same little double cutty grace note, chirpy bit on the F sharp in this case. Cutting that F sharp, and then that same chirpy thing here. Sliding into it. I think that helps accent it a little bit too. You've got a smooth ornament followed by a sharper ornament, if that makes any sense. And as I jump that octave, I kind of like to own it, and we're doing something a little weird. We're jumping the octave, so I may as well accent it. And popping that A, I think, helps as you go from B to A. up there, and we finish the phrase. Now the little repetitive part, you can do crayons on those. You've got back-to-back Ds. You can do that sort of bagpipey thing. Demonstrated that a few times. Could just tongue to separate the notes either way. So as we do that sort of bouncy trilly part, I do that same popping thing, hitting that popping with that F sharp as I go from F sharp to E, and then same thing, F sharp to C. That's kind of a useful exercise, really, to get your fingers used to that move, because that phrase does come up a lot in Irish music. You can do that until you drive yourself crazy. So that's the whole tune. It's a simple melody, but it's a fun one to play, and I'm not sure why it doesn't get played more often. I don't know. You'll let me know what you think. See you all in the next one. Cheers.